Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Anjara Priyandoyo. I'm PhD student in Environmental Science, University of York, United Kingdom. Um, I'm coming from Indonesia. That's why my research background is about Indonesia. So as you can see, the paper that I'm going to present is Energy and Environment in Indonesia. I will The agenda of this presentation can be divided on the 5 parts. The first is the introduction of energy and environment in Indonesia. The second is the methodology that I use in this paper. The third one is the portrait of the energy in Indonesia, including the power generation, industrial sector, transportation, and household sector. The fourth part is on the impact of the energy development on air pollution and greenhouse gas. And the fifth is the discussion. Okay, so history of Indonesia is history of the exploitation of natural resources. As you can see, Indonesia is fourth largest, most populated country, but it's a long story of the natural resource exploitation from the plantation and now with the oil and gas and fossil fuel exploitation. For Indonesia, development is a paradox of plenty because Indonesia is fifth largest exporter of natural gas, the first largest exporter of coal, second largest palm of oil, but on the other side, Indonesia is also one of the poorest country with the index of corruption is very low, and also the low renewable energy penetration and one of the biggest greenhouse gas emitter. So this is make a question: what is the characteristic of the energy development in Indonesia? The second thought is what is the link between the sustainability and what is the link between energy and environment in Indonesia? What is the link? Because if we see, Indonesia has a low indicator, for example, in the per capita public electricity consumption, but also the indicator in urban pollution and also the use of solid fuel in the household. So this make the second question: what is the link between energy development and air pollution? And the third question: what is the lowest impact energy scenario in Indonesia? So the next one is on the methodology of the research. This is part of my PhD program. I search the paper in the Scopus based on the keyword Indonesia, renewable energy and environment, and try to plot the result. As you can see that there is increasing growth of the energy research in Indonesia and environment research in the late 90s, and this is also happened with the same period that Indonesia is no longer become member of OPEC, or the Organization Petroleum Economic Country. So the trend, based on this trend, we can describe what is the energy characteristic in Indonesia. Okay, the first one is the characteristic of energy in Indonesia can be explained as the developing country, which has very large dependence on fossil fuel and low utilization of renewable energy. So the government Indonesian government plan to increase the share of renewable energy, become like more than 20% by 2020. So this is the average growth for the last 10 years of energy supply in Indonesia. So we can see that oil and the fossil fuel is the biggest contribute in the energy composition. As you can see that in the energy consumption, the oil is still leading of energy that consumed in Indonesia. And based on the sectoral growth, industrial sector is one of the biggest sector that the biggest composition and the biggest growth. And in industrial sector, the industry that consume most energy is the cement fertilizer is one of the biggest sector that use the energy. This is can illustrate the shift of the energy from previously in mineral and chemical, now changing with the more like infrastructures development. Okay, this is the growth, the average growth like 4.5%. And in the household sector, although Indonesia is one of the biggest fossil fuel producer in the world, in the household sector, most of the population is still using traditional biomass for their energy needs. Yeah, and in the commercial sector, such as trading, tourism, the most type of the energy that they use is on the electricity. And the next one is on the power generation sector. In Indonesia, it has electricity capacity of 50 gigawatt as 2014, and the average growth is like 7.3%, where the most of the energy power plant is from the fossil fuel. This is the distribution of this can be described as follows. And the impact of energy development can be seen as the increase of the nitric oxide and sulfur oxide especially in the urban area. And another thing is also about the greenhouse gas. The greenhouse gas is not only the biggest contributor in Indonesia greenhouse gas is from the forest fire and also from the urban sector. And the trend of greenhouse gas can be explained as follows. And the last one is on the particulate matter. So based on this observation, there are challenges that need to be addressed. The first is on the policy challenge. The second one is on the policy implementation challenge. So how the government can align between a number of energy that need to be developed versus the impact that need to be mitigated. That's all from myself. Thank you very much.